Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, Facebook rapist Thabo Bester's escape from a Mangaung prison has sparked numerous investigations. Police are now probing a murder case, trying to determine whose body it is that was found in South 35, where Bester was supposed to be. The Democratic Alliance has also requested the Judicial Inspectorate of Correctional Services launch an urgent investigation into the matter. The party says it will submit official questions as well to Justice Minister Ronald Lamola. Let's bring in the Democratic Alliance's Justice and Correctional Services Shadow Minister Jannie Engelbrecht. Mr. Engelbrecht, good morning and thank you very much for your time. You know, this case is among the most unbelievable prison breaks, and you've since requested that the Judicial Inspectorate of Correctional Services investigate the matter. Just talk us through this and just everything that you've made of this case since it was first brought to our attention.
Well, firstly, people need to be reminded that this is a private prison. This is not run by officials of the Department of Correctional Services. This is a institution administered by G4S under contract with Correctional Services. That being said, this is a maximum security facility. I did visit very similar facilities in Limpopo last year, and I can say that it is humanly impossible to get into or to come out of that facility without serious assistance from the inside by officials working there. Otherwise, it is just not possible. We are very concerned that we had to find out about this, like everyone else in the media, in Daily Maverick and News 24 also carried some stories about Mr. Thabo Bester. And that's why we say that an internal investigation will not do it. This is a criminal case. It needs to be investigated by the South African Police Service, and from the Correctional Services side by the Inspectorate by JICS, headed by Justice Cameron, so that we can get to the bottom of exactly what led to this, and because there's some serious question marks relating to this whole issue.
I want to touch on the desirability of public-private partnerships in such instances, but before that, I want to speak about the manner or the pace at which this matter was handled. The escape was brought to light through social media by Dr. Nandipa's relative, but for a good 2 weeks, Mr. Engelbrecht, social media dissected the matter. They literally solved the case, but barely a finger was lifted by authorities in the form of even questioning the doctor. And we now hear that the doctor and Mr. Bester have since vanished. But at some point last week, the doctor actually on social media revealed or stated that she would be opening her practice yet again, which would have been an indication that nothing had happened with her insofar as the police were concerned. Does this supposed lack of urgency not erode public trust in the justice system?
It is. We must remember that in a open democracy like our own, the public trust and confidence in the criminal justice system underlies the legitimacy of the criminal justice system. And this is just one of many other examples out there that really hurt public confidence in, the police service, but the entire criminal justice system, for that matter. Obviously, this will now get a lot of attention from the authorities, because there's a lot of attention on it now from the public through the media houses. But the fact that it took such a long time, and if you go back to when this actually happened, how long ago was this? Apparently, the Deputy Minister was informed.
The escape itself, yes.
And this is very serious. And why, I want to know, why was this kept away from the Portfolio Committee? Why do myself and my colleagues that serves on this Portfolio Committee from all political parties had to read about it on social media and in the newspapers? It's not the way things are supposed to work. So from Correctional Services side, they need to there's a few questions they need to answer, and then obviously the people need to be held accountable at G4S. I mean, what type of a show are they running there? This is serious and very dangerous people that's incarcerated there. And for someone just to walk out, and a year after, we don't even know where this guy is. I mean, this is
If it can
unthinkable.
help, if it can help insofar as that question of yours, why the Portfolio Committee only learnt of this on social media. There was one interview that I listened to on 702 where Singabakon Umalo from Correctional Services was speaking on this matter. And he went on to say that really they wanted to minimize the number of people that kept on talking about this matter because it would jeopardize investigations. So it's that age-old statement of little information at this point. We will not be sharing anything because it might jeopardize the investigation.
Yeah, another way to call, that you can explain that is, let's cover this up. We are in an open democracy. This is not, we don't live in apartheid any longer. This is a transparent society. If things happen and we as parliamentarians sit there with a specific mandate in terms of oversight that we need to exercise. But if we don't get information, the effectiveness of the oversight that you can do is very limited, and this is not the way it should go. The department can take the portfolio committee in confidence, but they do not. So we have not seen anything about this on the committee. I'm sure we'll shortly have a meeting about that now, but before today, nothing of the sort was discussed.
Then to the whole matter around the effectiveness of public-private partnerships in such core activities of government such as detention and rehabilitation. Was it wise or desirable, especially with the many problems that have come out of the Mangaung Correctional Facility?
Well, there's a problem now, but remember this happened long ago. I think in the 80s, in the late 90s, these prisons were built.
Yes, in 2000.
It's a long time ago. I think the term will come to an end now, and Correctional Services already indicated that these contracts will not be extended. These facilities will revert back into correctional services. But it worked well for many years. Look, I was not around at that time, but
in 2013, there were exposés that there were some allegations of torture at that very prison, and we do remember what happened then, because Correctional Services had to come in, take it over for a good 10 months and then return it in 2014. So in such an instance, when we have such a case, would it not perhaps send a strong message if they automatically took it back and didn't wait for the expiry of that public-private partnership in 2026?
Well, if that could be done, it would have been great, but the department is contractually bound. And because you can take it back, but then, a private company will take you to court, win their case, and then you have to pay them damages and all these kind of things. So that information needs to be dissected very carefully, and to see if indeed contractually it will be possible to even do that. Look, I will not be in favor of contracting out a core function of correctional services, like building a prison and having someone else run it on your behalf. That's a core functionality of the department, and you can't contract out your core responsibility. So our
constitutional rights could be infringed upon there, just the right of safety and security, because you have Thabo Bester out now, who knows what crimes he's committed since he's been out. The department could be held vicariously liable for anything that has happened.
True, and also, not only that, also the treatment of inmates in a facility like that. Look, these people are criminals, but they are not animals. They are human beings, and you need to treat human beings with dignity, and they have basic human rights. I've received lots of complaints about terrible things that happen, and so there's a systemic problem that we're talking about here, and the private prisons are but one of those problems. I would not go so far as to say that the entire department is dysfunctional and nothing is working. There's a lot of good people, honest people, dedicated people in correctional service that try their utmost best to make a change. But there are huge problems that needs to be addressed, and private facilities with this kind of things that happen, obviously on the forefront of problems that needs to be addressed urgently.